Alright, this is Off the Spectrum. I don't fucking know what episode I'm at, but I'm at an episode. I'm at a episode. So, yeah, I've been on the fucking job hunt, boys. This fucking door knocking shit ain't working, dude. I'm okay at it, but it's just I'm not making enough fucking income, man. Like, it's been fucking shitty, dude. Shitty, bro. I'm broke as a fucking joke, like, literally. Like, I literally think if I was put in a movie, like, if somebody mugged me right now, I'd be like, bro, like, fuck, dude. You picked the wrong homie, bro. Like, but, yeah, I finally got a job. I'm going to be working at a car lot. I'm hyped for it. It's not the greatest pay, not the greatest commissions, but you know what? Fuck it. I need some solid experience, and I'm still going to be looking at other opportunities. If I do good, if I can find something else that I do pretty good, that'd be awesome. So hopefully here I can really excel. I'm just going to really push through and do everything. It's just about, So am I. Got a new opportunity coming. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is I finally finished. I finished the entire book about communism. The rise, what's it called? To Overthrow the World. The Rise and Fall and Rise of Communism. Finally, I've gotten to the death of Russia. And that's kind of what's been interesting me lately. Like, Russian communism and Chinese communism have very similar I'd say, like, they had very similar administrations while they were happening. Like, I know, for example, what I mean by that is, like, you had Stalin, so you started in Russia, you kind of started with Lenin. Lenin was your figure that was to die for. Lenin was the motherfucking guy, He was the motherfucking guy, He's the guy. And so Lenin, he kind of started up. He was the founder, And Lenin, he was responsible for a big famine. He kind of fucked shit up, and then, but he had he had this prominent figure, Stalin, kind of working in his thing. He was a good guy, and Lenin had other people like Trotsky, and he had other people that ran his secret police that were fucking good. They were really good. Andropov was the main guy who ran his secret police, and he stuck around. But Stalin was just a political genius, and he fucking maneuvered everyone out of the position so he could be in power. And then at that point, communism moved at Stalin's will. Like, there was no, like, we're going to do this because, no, it was all Stalin's will. He said, no, we're doing 5-year plans. We're industrializing Russia. We are industrializing Russia. We're bringing it up to the world standard. And he did that. His 5-year plans did become a lot of economic growth for Russia. It was a lot of economic growth for Russia, and it really worked. He had different campaigns. My favorite, agitprop is what they call it. It literally just means propaganda. I don't know why they have special words for all this fucking gay bullshit, But agitprop, my favorite one was they said the Soviet worker is thrilled to work on Saturday. And obviously they weren't putting that out to their own people, but they were putting it out to like Westerners, because communism, you have to realize, was an ideological war. It was not, I guess a lot of people know this. I just think it's like our generation, maybe it's just because I didn't really go to history or whatever. I didn't really go to class a lot, but I just never had that. You just don't have that feeling of like, it's this ideological war. Like, no, like Stalin's goal was for the world to see communism, just like Lenin and Stalin. Their whole goals were to move communism forward, not just in Russia, but in other countries. So, but what I was back to my point about China and Russia had a very similar style where, Stalin, once he died, the Russian Empire was kind of over. Like, it was, they still held on for a while. They had this guy, Andropov, the secret police guy, took over. Then they were like, whoa, dude, you're fucking crazy. He was reforming communism, which was like, they were like, what the fuck are you doing? Then they had Khrushchev, he was doing kind of similar things about reforming Russia, reforming communism. And then they even had they had this other guy, Brezhnev, who was all about, like, he was all about farming. Like, he basically, like, he boasted to the Chinese, to Mao, the Chinese communist leader. He said, we are going to surpass America in milk production soon. And it never happened. But partly due to the U.S., but it's also just the Cold War. Like, Russia didn't really have to fight this expensive ideological war against us, but they basically needed allies, and kind of what kept I'm getting off topic here a bit. Basically, I will admit, communism seems cool, but basically what keeps these communist countries, what kept Russia afloat was slave labor. Yep, slave labor. You heard it here first. Just kidding. But basically, what I saw, I need to shave my neck, but so basically what I saw, what I'm trying to get to is, once Stalin died, you had all these other guys, but first of all, you had a lot of reform. A lot of people didn't they weren't as broad to heel as Stalin. Like, when Stalin's alive, they wouldn't fucking dare cross Stalin. Stalin says, hey, we gotta go get those people. They fucking get them, But then after Stalin died, it really changed. And they were like, it feels like Russia was just kind of on this weird, they're like, what? And then, basically, if you look at, during the fucking, oh, shoot, it's my, but, basically, they, what the fuck am I trying to say here? Basically, they were they didn't have, fuck. I really lost my train of thought. So, but basically, after Stalin died, it really feels like Russia, nobody really believed in the cause. In my head, how it is basically, communism moved under Stalin's will, and the minute Stalin died, it stopped moving. That's probably the best way to say it. The minute Stalin died, it stopped moving. Literally, he died, and then, I think the next guy who got in power, Andropov, literally immediately started, letting people have more freedom and all this stuff and doing all these things, and it's whoa. What the fuck are we doing? They was whoa. And then, it changed, and they went back, then they went to the Brezhnev guy, and he did all right, but he also denounced Stalin in a private meeting that he let go public. And here's where you see these two communist countries, completely diverge, is China, when Mao died, stuck to the fucking plan. What they did, though, is they freed up economically. They decided, the new guy, I forget his fucking name, Dong. Yeah, Dong. It's literally D-A-N-G, Dong. Dong, baby. Dong, he was in charge, and he was smart. He went and visited, so basically there was the Sino-Soviet split, which is basically, the Chinese hated the fucking Russians. So, first of all, Mao, the only reason Mao's fucking in power or alive is because of communist Russia. Communist Russia, Russia supported his entire regime. Basically, during World War II, what happened is Japan invaded. And, so before that, I will say the communists were on the ropes. The nationalists were winning. They conquered the majority of China, and they had fought off some other foreign invaders. So basically, up until World War II, China had been invaded by one foreign power or another for about 30 years. They had this 30-year ongoing war. So then the nationalists were winning, and that's that leader, Chiang Kai-shek, is a fucking killer, dude. He's a cool dude. He's a very good leader, I should say. He basically he started, he was encircling the communists. It was called the Third communist like encirclement or whatever, he basically had the communists encircled in like a fort. They were encircled in a fort and they couldn't really do anything. You know, they were kind of stuck, you know, and they were kind of fighting this battle. But then the Japanese invaded. So he was about to crush the rest of the communists, get rid of that. But the Japanese were in there. So he tried super hard. So he didn't want to fight the Japanese, Chiang Kai-shek, the nationalist, because he knew the only person that could benefit from a war with the Japanese was the communists. But the Soviets were smart. The Soviets are genius. Stalin's a fucking genius, bro. These dudes were smart. They said, all right, no, we'll help you. We'll help you fight the Japanese. No, you want the Japanese because the problem was Hitler and the Japanese were talking, and they had they basically had a pact, and so Stalin was gonna get two front attacked. And that would have been worse. He was already on the ropes he was already on the fucking ropes. The Germans were so good, dude. The Luftwaffe. It amazes me. They had the Soviets had thousands, like in every category. I think it was machine guns, like regular guns. Machine guns and regular guns. Machine guns are like big ass machine guns. Okay, these are like huge machine guns, you know, you're gonna put in a trench, shit like that. These are like not a gun that you give to every guy. So you had regular rifles. They had like 100,000, something like hundreds of thousands lead. They had thousands more tanks, thousands more planes, thousands more everything. But hours after Germany declared war against Stalin, the Luftwaffe did an air bombing raid and destroyed all of their infrastructure. They were fucked, dude. So, hey, this is a secret. I mean, it's probably not really a secret. People probably know, but basically, America sent Stalin, President whatever his face, sent Stalin secret aid, but behind Congress's back, of tanks and cars and all this and guns and food and all this stuff, so his army could fight. Because the Germans were whooping them, dude, whooping them. I will say, the Germans were so fucking good at war. I don't know why they were so good at fucking war, but it's crazy how good, like, they were the predominant military power in the world during World War I, then during World War II, like, just like insane military powers. But basically, what happened was, and then so Stalin was very concerned about this two-front war coming at him. So he was trying to get the Japanese just tied up in China. Like, he knew, like, so basically China, the biggest problem, even Chiang Kai-shek, like the leader of the nationalist forces, admitted, he's like, China had no real world military power. Like, compared to something like Japan or someone like that, where they have guns, they have tanks, they have all this. China was very far behind. They were very, very far behind the Western world. So, basically, what they did is they decided, what am I trying to say? So basically, he was like, look, he got with the nationalists and he said, look, we're going to do a peace treaty. He peace treated with the communists. First of all, he moved the communists, right before the war, they did, this is Mao's, like, famous triumph. It's like Mao's march. He marched 8,000 or, like, miles. It's like a ridiculous amount. And he went from 350,000 men or something down to, like, 3,000. Like, he lost, like, 90% of his force or something like that. And he marched there, and that's where the Soviets, they had some country in the east where a lot of their rubber and iron and stuff was coming from that they needed for the war. So they had a bunch of troops stationed on that border because they knew Japan was probably trying to push for that. Japan was smart. They were smart, dude. They were thinking, no, we don't want to invade. So, but then Stalin made a treaty with Japan. Japan was going to, they were getting, and Stalin made a treaty with Japan. Or, no. That's later on. But basically, he convinced Chiang Kai-shek to get in a war with the Japanese. And he didn't really want to get involved. And so, but no. He made an alliance with Chiang Kai-shek and said, look, you aren't going to kill the communists, you aren't going to do this, and we're going to do this. So the communists sat on the border of China, didn't do anything. He said he didn't want Mao to fight. He knew that what would happen after this war would create the environment that Lenin talked about. There would probably be a breakdown of military discipline, or at the very least, the nationalist military forces would not be strong enough to fight off a USSR supported Mao, China. So, and then he basically pushed the fucking, and kind of to make a long story, I know this fucking part's like kind of, I'm talking so much about it, but basically what happened is he grinded the nationalist army down against the Japanese. They lost thousands, and he would never fucking help them out. He invaded China like briefly for like 2 days. He'd go in, go out, go in, go out, go in, go out, like 3 times during the war, because he knew they needed his support. So he basically did that. That was cool. I like that. Or no, I didn't like that. Sorry. I'm just kind of, my train of thought's kind of fucking shitty right now. I'm driving. So, I'm driving and talking. It's kind of tough. But basically, he did all that stuff, and then he supported Mao, and Mao marched through China. And because China had been at war so long, when Mao marched to the capital, he finally conquered the nationalist forces, and they moved to that island, after Chiang Kai-shek was gone, Mao, everyone rejoiced. Even nationalists rejoiced. They were like, war is over. And then it was Mao's fucking boot on the neck, dude, for the rest of their lives. But what I'm trying to say is, you see the difference between, I think, Stalinism and Maoism, the difference between these two countries in the fall is what I'm trying to say is, during the fall of the USSR, Russia rolled over and was like, all right, they gave away power. They decided communist kind of rule was over. They held elections. They let people get elected and all this stuff. Like, communist power was no longer. Like, it was still a force in the country, but it was like pretty much gone, It wasn't like, it didn't have that iron grip that it had, so long ago, So, but, but in China, Deng, I should say, it's probably Dong, I don't know what it is, but it's like Deng or Dong, something like that. He was smart. So there was that Sino-Soviet split. So after the Soviets helped him, after the Soviets helped the Chinese get into power, the Chinese Mao and his communists get into power, there was a Sino-Soviet split. So once Stalin died, when Andropov and then Khrushchev, when they denounced Stalin and they fucked up communist power, they kind of gave away some. After that happened, Mao had a meeting, and he said, we should not be so dumb as to do something that limits communist power, that takes away from what we've accomplished, something like that. But he basically said, don't fucking be idiots, don't fuck up like that, And so, to all his guys. So then, what happened is we have so that was kind of the start of the Sino-Soviet split. So after that, it was a couple of years, like, the Soviets kind of started it. The Chinese started to kind of hate on the Soviets a little bit. Basically, they were just like, they were kind of done being under Stalin's foot. They were kind of done being underfoot by these Russians. So then after that, so then basically the big thing that happened that was kind of like a defining moment is like, the Soviets kind of worked together with the Chinese to support the communists in Vietnam, but like, then there was a meeting, and a Russian got too drunk, and he fucked up, and he said, why haven't you gotten rid of Mao yet? Oh, he fucked that up, and that really soured Mao. So then Mao, Yeah, but then I think the biggest difference is, okay, back to my point on these two fucking regimes. So basically what happened is, okay. So, geez, I keep saying, so basically what happened. But, so after this, so basically, the Sino-Soviet split, basically all you need to know is that the Chinese started to hate on the Russians, and the Russians were like, fuck you, we made you, you know, and so they kind of had this rivalry going, but they were still communists, they still kind of worked together. It was kind of they were kind of frenemy, kind of weird, like, it's like a weird, like, girl best friend relationship, kind of, that, like, you know, when, like, they're like, oh my god, did you hear, like, you know, they'll be like, so, like, an example, like, my little sister, she was like, so, like, basically there was like this dance part, and she's like kind of like big or whatever, she's like getting thrown in the air, it's like maybe it's like wasn't working, so I was like, maybe we should try it with me. This is exactly how she explained it to me. And then it's like, so then we did it with me, and then the coach or the teacher was like, our instructor was like, well, I guess you'll be the person that gets thrown. And my best friend is like not talking to me now because like I kind of like took her thing, but I was like, I didn't know, you know, like I didn't know that was going to happen. But it's like, it was like basically like a weird situation like that where like they're going to see each other and they're going to talk and they're going to be friendly, but like low key, they're like, fuck you. You know, they're both like have like a low key rivalry, you know, it's like a hot bitch rivalry. Basically. It's like, it's when you see two real hot bitches, it's like they got a rival for who's the hottest bitch now, basically. But, what am I trying to say here? Oh, yeah. So they kind of had that going on with the Soviets, the Sino-Soviet split, which is kind of weird to me. Super weird to me. But basically, we're moving on to, so the difference in these regimes. So after communism moved at Stalin's will, it stopped. It just stopped moving except for in China. In China, it moved. So I think the difference is, I think the reason, basically like once Stalin and Mao died, both countries saw a massive economic reform. Gorbachev was bankrupted. Russia was bankrupted trying to keep up with us in the fucking arms race. The arms race, and also Nixon's foreign policy, which honestly, at the time, it made sense. We needed to win the Cold War. There was communist sympathy was growing. They were winning like a motherfucker, dude. Basically, the KGB, I feel like, was really good. The KGB was fire at their job. I think the CIA, like, if you really look into, like, intelligence agencies and stuff like that, like, basically, like, the CIA, like, during World War II is really when ours kind of started ramping up. And then after World War II, we got handed like a bunch of things from MI6. Britain was kind of reforming, and so our intelligence agency was kind of in its infancy, I would say. Maybe not infancy, but we were more like teenagers or something. We just weren't as experienced as Russia. So since Lenin in I think it was like 1920, maybe no, he's closer to 1880, huh? He's like. It was basically 1880. The 1880s is when Lenin kind of took control, and like a little bit into that. And basically the first thing he did was establish his secret police, or the NKVD, which later became the KGB, which, you know, that the NKVD just kept evolving. Their intelligence agency never got abolished, and it started way earlier than ours. Like, I guess I should look at the founding and all this stuff, but basically they won a lot. A lot of countries went communist. They did really good in the foreign realm, but even when they lost, like in several countries, they were so good at propaganda and all this stuff, they propped up foreign communists as communist martyrs. So it inspired people, like, which, I mean, it's an easy thing to do, dude. I was inspired by Andrew Bubeff, because Bubeff was a real fucking hero, dude. He fucking lived and died by what he fucking believed in. And that's a fucking way to go, dude. Fuck yeah, I love that guy. That guy's fucking lit, dude. You don't think, like, bro, like, I would be fucking grateful. Like, I would be fucking, like, if I lived my life and died for something, even if it's something stupid, dude, by some principle, like, I might, like, my principle's like, dude, I won't use AI, dude. Fuck AI, bro. You guys know AI's dumb. I think it's objectively bad for humanity, and we should stop developing it. Like, I talked about this last episode, but it always comes up, like, what do you do when you can't employ 30% of your population? What do you do when machinery gets to the point where it fucks up? Like, machinery gets to the point where automation gets so good to where we've gotten rid of the majority of these corporate white-collar jobs. We've gotten rid of all this bureaucracy. We've gotten rid of all this stuff. What do we do with a population? What do you do? What do you upload it into a fucking computer, dude? That's what's gonna happen. That's what they want to do, bro. That's what they want to do. They want to upload you in a fucking computer. Well, look, obviously they don't want to, and I don't think it's gonna happen in our lifetime. I think it's gonna take fucking forever before we see something like that, where we're getting uploaded online and we're becoming digitized, and it's like digitized humans, and it's like, what does that even look like? Like, what is life where you have no ups and downs, where you have no happy, you have no sad, you just are an amalgamation of things, and you have to think of that life you are God. So a real good example is there's this book, there's a sci-fi book that I think it kind of explains the phenomenon as well as anybody can. Like, I'm sure there's probably like works that make it better, but like, basically it's like this fucking, like, this guy Bob lives in this computer, and like, he can simulate anything virtually, but all it does is take computing power. So basically he's sitting there, and it's called like We Are Bob, like we are Legion or something gay. Like, but the beginning of the book's pretty good because it's just this struggle. Like, after that, it comes into like, I think if he just wrote a book, like, it's just, yeah, like, it's like a weird book. But like, the beginning's really good because it's a guy that got uploaded into a computer, and basically everyone goes mad. Which I'm like, yeah, that's probably what most people would. They're probably just gonna go mad. But basically, he's a computer, but it's him. So it's like he doesn't really have emotions. Like, he's a computer. Like, it doesn't really have emotions. Like, so he's just like, he can make anything he wants happen, but he needs a certain amount of computing power. So it's basically like how if we're uploaded in like a computer, it's like, yeah, you become God, and your only limits are external hardware, which we'll probably solve at one point, maybe with quantum computing. I don't even know what quantum computing, like, I don't even know if that's a real, like, it's such like a fucking crazy thing to me, the quantum computer. They're basically if the whole universe was a computer, this one quantum computer would be way fucking better than everything. And so I'm like, okay, I guess that makes fucking sense. I don't know. But basically, I think like that's the end. Like, I think that's the natural evolution of society maybe, because like, you think of humans, you think like, so like, if we want to live forever, like, we're definitely going to live forever in a digitized format. I think eventually we just have to become computers. You know, so that's kind of my thought process behind it all. You know, I think AI is bad. I think we should just stop developing it, bro. I think we should just stop, dude. I think we're in a new arms race. If you haven't fucking noticed, China embarrassed America. I've talked about it last time, but I think we're fine. After listening to this, I listened to these two real good experts. Like, basically, we have to slow China down so we can win. That's basically kind of the thesis. The argument is like, look, like, and we have to slow China down by slowing the rest of the world down, because like, basically what's happening is we limit, oh no, you can't have chips here, but then it's like, okay, well, we're gonna get chips in this other country, and then we're just gonna buy them from them. Like, so basically we're slowing down chip manufacturing everywhere, but we need to ramp up manufacturing here. So like, the world depending on this one little fucking tiny island in Taiwan's a problem. So like, I don't know if I talked about this last episode, but I don't think so. I think it's been a minute. But yeah. So basically, Taiwan develops chips for everything, like your refrigerator, your fucking stove, everything has these little micro whatever conductors that you need. And so they're all like different sizes, they're all like different shits, you know, they're all like, they're basically different things, bunch of different things, okay? So Taiwan's really the only one that can do it profitably, because it takes so long. It's just like, it's a business where, like, at the beginning, you only had developed like a few chips, you know, you only had like, okay, we have this one for the refrigerator, and they were big ass chips, you know. That's part of the issue with it, you know, is these chips are not fucking, they're small as shit. They're like, the biggest one's like 7 millimeters. That's ridiculous, huh? That's ridiculous. So basically, they need these fucking chips, dude. So they have these chips, and Taiwan's the only place that makes them. So we need, and Intel could do it. Intel fucked up. They were doing it, and they could do it still. So we've got to really ramp up chip manufacturing. We fucking need to, dude. Like, we really need to ramp up chip manufacturing in the U.S. Like, we need to get to the point where we can manufacture our own chips. Maybe we, like I think, and bringing back manufacturing. Manufacturing are middle-class jobs, dude. Working in a factory, doing all these other things, that's all middle-class jobs. So, basically, what I want, that's all middle-class jobs. Just good. And that's what I'm reading the economic study. I'm going to talk in depth about this tariff shit later, which I think is probably going to work. I believe in it. It technically did work when he did tariffs in 2018 to 2019. It worked. We actually, we saw basically China, like the dollar actually went up, like it wasn't bad. So maybe it'll work. I don't know. It's a problem. We don't know. So, but I'm hoping if it can bring back manufacturing, he's basically trying to, affect the global trading, the global, economic, what is it? Like, he's trying to affect global economic markets, with these tariffs, and cause so we can weaken the US dollar and move manufacturing back home. Like, yeah, that's pretty epic, dude. We definitely should fucking do that, you know? I think that's fucking dope, dude. Like, who the fuck doesn't want to have a stronger middle class? Could you imagine not having a strong middle class, bro? Like, our middle class is weak as fuck right now. We need to go back to middle class America. Fucking lit America. And we need to have fucking good dude, we need to also have labor reform. Dude, fuck these companies. Like, we get a week off, bro. Dude, all these other countries, you get like a month, you get like 4 weeks, you get like 3 fucking weeks off of work, bro. Like, dude, why the fuck doesn't America have that, bro? We're supposed to be the fucking capital, financial, we're supposed to be this like insane global superpower, and our workers don't have as much fucking free time as us, dude. Like, it's literally like, it harkens me back to the Soviets that didn't have as much fucking free time as us. But I'm way off topic here. AI will get me going. But basically, the KGB was so fucking good at these things. Like, they won a lot of these countries over to communism, and they won a ton of these motherfucking, and they did a lot of, but when they lost, they were so good at fucking propaganda, dude. You don't know. They were so good at propaganda that they would make martyrs. And like I was saying, it's easy to be a martyr. Because it's like, I'm inspired by Boubet. Boubet's a fucking badass. He's a fucking, maybe he believed in the wrong system, but I don't care, dude. I think he lived and died by what he thought was right, which is lit. And so, I think Stalin is definitely a bad guy. There's no redemption, but you can say he moved the world on his will. His communism moved on his will. That was cool, dude. So, kind of this stuff's really dope. I really like this stuff. This stuff's cool. Yeah, they'd win. So I definitely have to look into the CIA. Maybe I can compare, kind of see what, come back to you. I'll probably have an update on that next fucking episode. What happened, was the KGB better than the CIA? What was going on during those things? Maybe I'll go, I might go in depth on a couple things because I'm on a couple of these like CIA, KGB like things, and maybe talk about a couple of them. So that might be cool. I might do a little series like that where we talk about coups, and that would really interest me, where I research one coup, one kind of like thing, because like these operations, they were fighting against each other. It was the KGB versus CIA, bro. KGB versus CIA. It was a literal like intelligence agency off. They were like, dude, no, I'm fucking capitalism here. No, I'm fucking communism here. Like, good shit. So, but basically, economic reform started happening after Mao died. After Mao died, Dong was fucking intelligent as shit, dude. Because of the Sino-Soviet split, and China wasn't really a world stage power. Like, this is 1970-something, like... China was behind, dude. China was fucking behind. So, what does China do? They do economic reform. But this brings us to the Tiananmen Square massacre, which we kind of have differences, like, and basically in like in the whole like of the Eastern Bloc countries, basically all the countries like that's like East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Estonia, I think Yugoslavia's in there, Ukraine, what else is in there? Fuck, dude, I got no openings on this fucking turn, dude. Zero openings, bro. Fucking go, dude. You need to move, brother. But, yeah, like, Yugoslavia, Ukraine, I've already said those two, Ukraine, you have Romania, like all those countries. They were basically fed up. They're like, "Fuck it, dude. We're gonna change." They started breaking off, going into democracy. And once that started happening, Gorbachev was like, "All right." And then he started moving towards economic reform. They had elections in Russia, like different stuff like that happened. So it really turned Russia's economy around. Helped kind of alleviate a lot of damage. Like, don't get me wrong. Stalin modernized Russia. Like, his plan fucking worked, dude. He modernized Russia. So, but then Dong, because of the Sino-Soviet split, was good. He oh yeah, he went to Japan. He toured Japan. And he was given MFN status, which is most favored nation status, which I will admit basically means he can get loans for cheap. They get loans for cheap, okay? Loans for cheap. So they got loans for cheap. And then he said, fuck it, dude. Then he went to America. And we had one senator or whatever that was real tough on communism. And honestly, he was that was smart. Like, communism is responsible for so many fucking atrocities in the world. It's fucking insane. Like, I'm not saying that the Western world does not have their fair share of atrocities, but the communism was responsible for so many deaths. It's fucking insane, dude. In China alone, they estimate 45 to 47 million deaths from Mao's Great Leap Forward, which was fucking. They were so bad. His fucking. He had to put out a thing that said, it was so bad. His propaganda to his own people was the Chinese worker doesn't need to eat as much as everyone else. That's how fucking crazy it was. The Chinese worker doesn't need to eat as much as everybody else. That's fucking insane, dude. That's what the fuck, dude? So, yeah, that's crazy. That shit sucks. So, fuck. What am I trying to think? Oh yeah. So, basically, Dong. He went to win over that. He basically won over. He got MFN status, most favored nation status, for him with the U.S. and Japan, so he could get loans. And he was, and so how he did it, and then so he went and hugged this fucking, he won over that senator by just hugging him. He went and met him in Seattle and hugged him. Fucking smart guy. People pleaser, bro. This dude was a people pleaser, and he was good. He got lucky because basically, like, people were kind of mad at the old Mao because, like, but Mao was smart. He, you know, whatever. But then basically, fuck. Oh yeah. So then he basically did that. And he said, all right, we're gonna build, like, he basically had different zones that were kind of like state slash like they're like state slash private. Fuck, how did I think of that word? State slash privatized, like, sectors of commerce and business. So they did that, and then he did that, which was really cool. It really helped the economy, and it really fucking, and that was really helping, and it really modernized China. It took China to the next fucking level. And but yeah, like, the difference is Russia was seeing economic and political reform. China was seeing economic reform. And this is what leads up to Tiananmen Square. They had millions of protesters in Tiananmen Square. All in Tiananmen Square. Like, it's like maybe 1 million something. But that's ridiculous. 1 million something fucking protesters. They had 1 million something protesters in Tiananmen Square, and they fucking god damn it. And wherein mass protests like that were happening all over the Eastern Bloc, and in the Eastern Bloc they decided, okay, like, whatever, like, they were kind of loosening up. You know, I think Stalin held everyone with this iron grip, and then you had reform from Russia. And what really sparked the Eastern Bloc countries breaking off was the Russian guarantee of security when they lost the war in Afghanistan. They lost a war in Afghanistan, and that was when these countries were like, what the fuck's going on? But basically, instead of doing the thing that, like, basically all these other countries were doing, they were like, they saw these protests, and they're like, all right, fuck it, dude, we'll change our government, we'll have elections. This Dong guy was like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. I'm in charge here, bro. And he imported 150,000 troops into Tiananmen Square. But so, I mean, Gorbachev was visiting China to end the Sino-Soviet split, but the problem was, and so they decided, they were like, so the protesters were there, and he didn't want to break up the protesters because the Western journalists were there for the Sino-Soviet split to end. For Gorbachev visiting him. So then, the fucking, what's his face? And so then he waited weeks. It was a standoff, weeks. Then they rioted. Something happened. They were breaking windows. They did something else. He sent in the fucking military, and he said, and so first of all, his general was like, I need a written order to shoot at them. And he said, what? He said, what the fuck? And he got that guy court-martialed, sent to 5 years in military prison immediately. Boom, like that. And then he got a new commander in that would do what he was fucking told. So he did what he was told, and he fucked that guy. And so he started fucking. So then he fucked that guy. Basically, they like thousands killed. I don't know exactly how many, but they killed thousands of people. Like, some people died in their homes, in their kitchens, stuff like that. It was terrible. It was a terrible time, but I'll say the difference was China gave up economic power, kind of. It was all state-sponsored, and at the end of the day, they can take it away. But Russia gave up real power. So China gave up fake power so their people would be better off and their country could get on the economic world stage and they could compete militarily. But Russia and all the Eastern Bloc countries decided to give up real political and real economic power. China gave up a little bit of economic power. Maybe they gave up economic power. I'll say they gave up a good chunk of economic power, but maintained the ultimate power. And I think all these other governments, they gave up the power to the people. They kind of gave up a lot of the power to the people. They still had some communists that were guaranteed spots and other stuff like that, but they still had elections, and they could have discussions about policy, and things could change for the better. But China never gave up the power. And it's interesting to me, because I think the reason is Mao, cleansed his government a ton, and he appointed a bunch of young people. But Mao, I think everyone in China was so loyal to Mao's, as a guy, But no. Here's what I think the difference is. Immediately after Mao died, this Dong got in, and Dong was a similar personality to Mao. He had the reins. And he was like, fuck it, I'm not giving up the reins. He was like, no, I will make life better, but I still have the power. The difference was when Andropov took power right after, and then Khrushchev, they weren't the type of guy like a Stalin or like a Mao or like a Dong. Like, they were like, they felt bad for what they'd done. They've been doing all this crazy stuff. Like, I think that's the big difference. And that's kind of where I'm going to end today. I just want to talk about those differences there, and just think about my thoughts and all this thing, this communism, go into AI a little bit. I know. And then next episode, I think I'm going to talk a lot about the economic plan, and we're going to look into the Bay of Pigs. So I've always heard about the Bay of Pigs. I've looked into the Tiananmen Square now. I really know about Tiananmen Square. I've always heard about it. I never really know. But I'm going to look into Bay of Pigs real seriously, and we're going to talk about the Bay of Pigs and then also the economic plan after I do my research. But thanks for listening, and guys, see you next time.